My dad is 53 years old, allergic to responsibility, and currently stranded at a bus station in a state that isn't ours, because he got kicked off a bus for cussing out the driver. This is going to be a journey. Buckle up. Welcome back to Reddit Review, where today we've got a story that's part family drama, part disaster movie, and honestly, part comedy of errors starring a grown man who treats sobriety like a suggestion. Let's get into it. So my dad, 53 years old, never held down a job for longer than it takes most people to finish a probationary period. Never paid a bill without being asked twice, and even then, only maybe. And somewhere along the way, after 10 whole entire years of behaving himself, he decided that sobriety was, and I quote nobody but I promise this was the vibe, just not really his thing anymore. He's lived with practically every family member we have. Every single one of them eventually reached their limit and showed him the door, because apparently, getting blackout drunk in someone else's house while contributing $0 to the household is not the roommate behavior people are looking for. Who knew? Truly a mystery for the ages. Most recently, he moved out of state to crash with an old friend, someone who I assume genuinely liked him at some point in the last century. Got trashed, obviously. The friend, a literal saint by this point, handed him bus fare home just to be rid of him. No hard feelings, please just go. My dad used that money on beer instead, because priorities, and got himself arrested for public intoxication in a town he doesn't even live in. Iconic behavior, truly. A real hometown hero, except not his hometown. He gets released from jail, and instead of, laying low, maybe reflecting on his choices, he walks 15 miles through the rain, in the dark, specifically to get more alcohol. 15 miles. On foot. In the rain. That's basically a marathon, and if he put that kind of raw dedication into literally anything else in his life, we would not be having this conversation right now. We could have had a very different father-daughter relationship built entirely on that level of commitment to literally anything productive. So I step in because apparently that's my job now, unpaid, unwilling, and increasingly exhausted. I borrow money from my mom, who is very much divorced from this man and has every legal and emotional right to say absolutely not, but didn't. I scrape together extra cash from a bill I really needed to pay, and I buy him a direct, no-transfer bus ticket home. I paid extra specifically so he wouldn't have the opportunity to get lost, drunk, or arrested during a layover, because I have apparently become a logistics expert in adult babysitting. I was not smart enough, apparently, because somehow on a bus in front of witnesses, in a confined metal tube with nowhere to run, he found a way to get more beer. Got drunk anyway, and got kicked off for cussing out the driver, which, at this point, feels less like a plot twist and more like his signature move. Before I tell you where this insanity actually goes, if you've ever had a family member who could turn a simple errand into a full crime saga, hit that subscribe button now, because I promise you this story is not done being ridiculous. So now he's stranded. Different state, no ticket, no money, and every single family member who might normally help has already been burned so badly they wouldn't send him $1 if his life depended on it. Which, dramatic as it sounds at this point, it kind of does. His backup plan was staying with a relative. She canceled last minute, which, respectfully, smart woman, correct decision, no notes. My actual backup plan is a homeless shelter that specifically helps men with substance abuse issues, run through a ministry program with actual structure and actual rules. Rules being the one single thing my father has spent his entire adult life actively, aggressively avoiding, like they personally offended him. And here's the twist, the part that made me laugh out loud in the middle of an actual crisis, which probably says something about my coping mechanisms at this point. While I'm sitting there trying to figure out how to scrape together yet another ticket, feeling genuinely sick to my stomach about it, I find out from someone at the station that he'd already been asking random strangers there for cash. Not for a ticket home, mind you. He had a sob story going strong enough that people were actually handing him money out of pity, and instead of using any of it to buy his own way home, he was holding out, waiting to see if I'd cave and send even more, so he could keep drinking at the station while he waited it out. My father, stranded, broke, freshly arrested, kicked off a bus, and somehow still running an active, fully operational fundraising campaign for beer money. Impressive work ethic, honestly. Just the wrong industry entirely. I haven't sent anything else. I told him the shelter is the plan, rules and all, take it or leave it, and for once in his life actually deal with a consequence instead of finding someone new to absorb it for him. I can't let him move in with us. I've got a husband, a lease, and genuinely zero interest in watching my father get us evicted the exact same way he's gotten himself evicted from every single family relationship he's ever had, one burnt bridge at a time, like some kind of unpaid arsonist. So tell me, AITA, for finally deciding that a grown man's rock bottom is not actually my emergency to keep rescuing him from, especially when he's using rescue money to fund the exact behavior that put him there. If this story had you somewhere between horrified and cackling the whole way through, that's exactly the energy we bring you every single week. Subscribe to Reddit Review, and I will absolutely see you in the next one.